How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of my Blu-ray update, and I got three brand new releases to review from Arrow. First up is a psychological thriller called The Ghoul, also the 1955 film noir classic called The Big Knife, and last but not least, the swashbuckling epic Erik the Conqueror. So first, let's take a look at The Ghoul, which is a story about this homicide detective who decides to go undercover as a patient to investigate this psychotherapist that he believes is linked to a strange double murder. And this was actually a pretty decent movie, and it's definitely a mind bender. So if you like films like The Game with Michael Douglas, those type of psychological thrillers that plays with your head, do check this one out. But I have to admit though, this film was shot handheld, and that was something I could have done without, and that was something that Hollywood used to do about 10 years ago where it was really popular, but the constant jitter of the camera, it was just unnecessary for my taste for this film. But as far as the presentation is concerned, I'm going to rate the picture quality a 4.5 out of a 5, and the audio mix gets a 5 out of a 5. This features a DTS 5.1, and as far as the image, overall it's a rather sharp looking picture with certain scenes having a little bit of softness here and there. And also I noticed a bit of banding when during dark portions of the film. And as far as special features, you get an audio commentary track by the writer-director Gary Tunley and the actor-producers of the film, plus In the Loop, which is a brand new documentary. And this film is presented in the aspect ratio of 2.35, and this is a Region A release. And next up, I got the film noir classic from 1955 called The Big Knife. And personally, I'm a huge fan of film noir movies. From the look and feel of it to the grittiness of it and the story, it was just a really interesting time for Hollywood to produce these films. And they mostly made it around the 40s and 50s is when film noir was really popular. So anyway, in this one, Jack Palance stars as Charlie Castle, and he plays a actor in the film that decides to go up against his agent and a contract that he doesn't want to sign, a 7-year agreement to produce more films, because he's basically just tired of the low quality of the movies that Hollywood is producing, and he decides to take a different path. And his wife also agrees with him on that decision, played by the beautiful Ida Lupino. But Charlie's agent still tries to convince him to sign that agreement, and when Charlie refuses, that's when his agent decides to blackmail him instead. And what can I say? This is film noir at its finest, and a really great role for Jack Palance. And by the way, this also co-stars Rod Steiger and Shelley Winters. And this film was sourced from a brand new 2K restoration, which looks absolutely amazing, really sharp with excellent looking black levels. But I have to admit though, the grain for this film was a bit too much for my taste. It was overpowering the image a little too much. But other than that, really nice looking presentation. So I'm going to rate the picture quality a 4.5 out of a 5, and I'm going to give the audio mix a 4 out of a 5. And as far as features, you get a great audio commentary by film critics Glenn Kenny and Nick Pinkerton, which is recorded exclusively for this release, plus many other great featurettes. You get a rare television promo hosted by Jack Palance and Shelley Winters, and much more. And the aspect ratio for this film is in the 1.85 format, and this is a Region A release. And the third film released by Arrow is Erik the Conqueror, released in 1961. And this is a Italian epic film about Vikings, and it's directed by Mario Bava. And the director of this film loved the film The Vikings so much, the one with Kirk Douglas, released in 1958, that he decided to take matters in his own hands and try to make an epic film for himself. And what I really appreciate about these epic type of films from the late 50s and early 60s, for example, this one, or Lawrence of Arabia and Ben-Hur, it feels like you've gone inside a time machine back in time to the actual time period of when those films take place. Because, it's shot on location, from the costume to the acting, it was just pitch perfect. And unlike today's epic films, because it's mostly shot on a soundstage with green screen special effects, which honestly takes the fun out of it, at least for me it does. So anyway, Erik the Conqueror takes place in the 9th century, and it's about two Viking children which were separated at birth, and which one was raised by the British and the other was raised by the Vikings, and they meet 20 years later as rivals as war breaks out between Britain and the Vikings for control of England. What an epic film, man, and beautifully shot with beautiful women. Really fun movie. So this film was sourced from a brand new 2K restoration, and it just looks absolutely stunning with great black levels and just a rather colorful looking image with just small hints of softness here and there. So I'm going to rate the picture a 4.5 out of a 5, and I'm going to give the audio mix a 4 out of a 5. And as far as special features, you get the original Italian and English mono track, plus the newly translated English subtitles. You also get a brand new audio commentary by Tim Lucas, which I highly recommend. His commentaries are always great. Plus a bunch of other great featurettes. You get an audio interview with star Cameron Mitchell and much more. And this film is presented in the aspect ratio of 2.35, and this is a Region A release.